Got lead in your drive shaft? I don't see you breaking the sound barrier, Ironhide. Come on, Ironhide! Trailbreaker!
Welcome back to the Titanium Hangar. This is Mike, and today I want to talk to you about the MP-56 fourth party KO of Trailbreaker. We're going to take a look at this guy. We're going to do some comparisons to all of the other figures that are Trailbreakers and hoists that I have, and do a quick comparison to some other figures. But we're going to take a look at this. We're going to weigh this. What's the difference in weight? I do understand this has some die-cast in it, but I did get this Show Z for 60 bucks. Not a bad price. I'm going to have a link down below where you can get yours, and of course you can put in reviewer code TH to help me out if you want to. But let's get in and take a look at fourth party MP-56 Trailbreaker coming up. Alright, so here is the box, and it's kind of strange because it looks like the slip covers that they would put on the US releases of the box, but it's actually just the box like in the form of the slip cover. But anyway, there's not much to see here. And since there's not much to see with the box, there is the way it's packaged with all of the accessories, 3 heads, extra is that extra hand, and then the accessories, blast effect, extra grill, bumper. Alright, so here it is in the alt mode, and real quick before we get into too much, I do want to show this hood is painted really well, but I do believe it is die cast. It does feel stronger than plastic, but it doesn't have that cold feel to it. There are several pieces of die cast, some cold spots on here as we go. It does feel a little bit heftier than the original one, but with that you also can swap out this front grill slash bumper by pulling down on it and then just pulling it out. And so with that, we might as well do it right now since we have this going on. And then you slide this one on here. I promise helps if you have it orientated the right way. So that's the big problem there with that. So anyway, I'm going to put this on here, close up the hood, and then we can have the kind of cartoon look to it if you want that look. I'm guessing with this KO one, people probably want more of a real world look because it has the die cast, and then let your Takara one be the toon look. So this is it in the alt mode, and it does look pretty good. I am not going to be transforming over the original one. It does have the hard tires. It's got hard plastic, not rubber. Paint. The whole thing is painted, so you got to be real careful with these when they're all painted. You got the blue windshields and side windows and all that. It does look like it's kind of either frosted or scuffed up a bit on the front windshield, which is kind of strange. The rest of them look pretty good. The actual front windshield just looks a little scuffed up, but we do have these on here. And so with that, it does look pretty good. It looks a lot like what we expect. I guess we can go ahead and do some size comparisons real quick and then some accessories. Alright, so here's how it scales with the Magic Square Optimus Prime, which looks actually pretty good in both modes. The MMC Sphinx, or their Mirage, and the good old-fashioned Takara Hot Rod. So that's the scale, that's the size, that's how it looks. So really in this mode, there's only really one accessory, and it's going to be putting it right into here. Takes quite a little bit to get it all the way up. I just wanted to make sure that it fit in there just right. It opened up. Okay, so you're going to have this, and that's going to plug into the top right here, like it did with the original, and that fits really well. It's nice and tight, gets the job done. That's how it works. The one accessory that we have, well, aside from, of course, the front grill and bumper and all that kind of stuff, so fun, just like cartoon. Now, the doors also open on this, although it's not really something that I think is going to do any good, really. And so, if it opens and you can put a figure in there and it feels like you're, like the Alternators time frame where you could actually, it felt like a real car on the inside. You had the seat and all the opening. I think it's worth it. But when it's opening to really nothing like that, I think it's just a waste of time. But it's kind of a fun gimmick, but it doesn't really do much for this. Alright, so here he is in the robot mode, and skipping over the transformation, I'm not going to put that in here because that just adds like another 7-10 minutes to the video that nobody really wants to watch anyway. So I will link down the official, and it's exactly the same transformation, and it's not really catching the light like I would like, but he looks good. He's pretty much what we know from Takara. Has the good and the bad from Takara, but overall, I mean, not really a bad looking figure. So the biggest problem with the design, of course, is this section here looking a little bit kind of wonky, but his arm goes there, sort of covers that up, I guess. Don't blame the KO company. It's not their fault. They didn't design this. That's Takara's fault, not theirs. Actually, a lot of KO companies, they do add a little something, like maybe they could have added some sort of like a panel to cover that, or figure out a way to increase the joints to where this could flatten out a little bit more, something along those lines. But what they did with this one instead was add die cast to it, so it is significantly heavier than the original one. And I can't pinpoint all the die cast, just a little bit of it, but it does have a little more weight and heft to it. So anyway, looking at it overall, he does look really good, and I do like this look of this figure. Aside from the side piece, which really doesn't bother me, and the longer I have the official, the less it bothers me, and usually something like that would bother me more. I don't know, but I do think it looks pretty good. It's a pretty good design overall, and a pretty good looking figure, and it's one that, but when we get to comparisons, we'll do the weight comparison and all that. But since we aren't doing the transformation, we can play with all of the accessories just a little bit, see how well they work. He does have a few different head options, sort of like a standard look. We've got a smiling and yelling, and if you want all of that. And then to take the head off, you simply slide it forward. Now, I say simply, I did get this party started and the ball rolling so that it could look a little bit easier. And then we're going to put this toy head on. So it actually comes with an entire toy head. That's crazy. But you could just pop the ball off if you want. And yeah, because it does have a bit of a different angle to it. Is that why? It has a whole toy head. So you can swap the whole thing and just pop the ball joint. Alright. I'm always apprehensive when you're popping on and off ball joints like that, but here he is with his toy head. So I think that's a big difference if you want to go this route, and so that's what it looks like if that's something you're interested in. But yeah, there's his toy head. I don't think I'm gonna do that. I don't really think I like that. I think I'm gonna pick one of these other ones. But yeah, head options are great. Now it's time to put this on, and it's a multi-tool thing he's got. But there's enough bad things going on in the world. Don't have to have your toys all angry. Put a smiling face on him, and I'll just pull it off there, and then put this on here. And happy toys, happy Monday. Get this all working good. How does he look with that? I probably will never use it. I guess I'm glad they included it. But the thing is, just in my mind, this is what's on his left hand. And yes, he does come with a true left hand. I'm never going to use it, but still pretty cool. That's about it for the options, except unless you want to like plug in something like a blast effect or something along those lines. If that's the thing that you want to do, you can do it, but I like the blast effects. I don't think I'm going to display them like that though. Real quick with this guy, we're going to run through the articulation. I'm going to try to point out what I feel that is die cast in it, but we do have these things here, both articulated. Got some articulation there. We have the head on a ball joint, and so up and down, left and right. Now, one thing about this, okay, we've seen this with the official, but are we going to see how well this operates and how smooth these joints work? So we do have the butterfly that's going on, so we can get about that much with a butterfly on this figure. We can actually go out to here, so shoulder goes out to there, and of course you got the 360. And so all of that. So there's a lot going on with his shoulder. A lot going on with his shoulder. And then this keeps coming undone on me as I'm doing the articulations. That's another real annoying thing. But I think that's more of the design than the actual figure. But that's kind of a pain. Okay, so getting down to bicep swivel. And then you have about that much range on the elbow. And then this does that. You've got one finger, and you have a whole hand over here. So with this hand, it goes in and out. It's a little bit loose on mine, but I think the original one was kind of loose too. You got the opposable thumb, you've got one pointer finger, and you got these three fingers that are hinged together. And I got to tell you, I'm not mad at it because I've had a lot of problem with fingers lately. Like 2 fingers in a row, just terrible fingers. And then we get down here to the waist, and of course, side by side. You know, I'm not sure if it's supposed to have an ab crunch, but as much that's going on in here that I've had problems with, I'm not going to try. I know I missed an ab crunch on something in the past, but he looks pretty good standing here like this. Now, the hiding hip flaps is great. He goes all the way up to there. He can do some like dancing. That's as far back as it goes, but I do like that we get quite a bit of range. The knee and all that put together, like you can get quite a bit of range with that. So that helps with the articulation point. We got the thigh swivel. Everything feels pretty nice. A little loose at the thigh swivel. The knee, it's double jointed because this part of the joint, no, is it not double jointed? It's just the one joint, because they've been doing some disappearing of this. This disappears into here as like a second joint. I'm not feeling it. I thought it was. Anyway, so there's no ratchet in this. It's just friction. And weird looking at the detailing in there. It looks like it's ratcheted. So lots of paint everywhere. Everything's painted. Everything's painted well. And so I mean, it's decent looking paint. So if only I had a handful of Legend figures had this much good paint on it, that'd be fantastic. And you're paying $60 for some of these Legend figures. And then you have the foot, which you can do a lot with. Now this has to do with the transformation for the most part, but not a big deal. But yeah, you can do a lot with it, and you have a lot of stability with this guy. And that's another thing, is as much as some people wanted to bash the design of this figure from Takara, the stability on this is just outstanding. You can just set it and forget it. Well, okay, until I slam it down, but it's pretty stable. You get it there, he's not going anywhere. So I like all that. I like the articulation of him, and I like the aesthetic, aside from that little bit of a side of his stomach. Okay, so here he is next to the official, and I guess we should have them in the exact same pose and all that kind of stuff so that we can see them side by side. I do feel like there are aspects of this that are a little bit tighter tolerance than the official. Although I don't feel like the official is a floppy mess or anything like that. It's pretty solid. It's just, maybe it's the weight that keeps getting to me. As you see with the official, you have the symbol. Now you've got a symbol you can put on it yourself. It's a do-it-yourself symbol. So with that, I was able to, this is probably a me thing, and I probably go back and fix it now that I've transformed this one, but I see this gap here, I've made it, narrowed the gap on that, and I bet you I could now, after going into this, and then looking at it, there's a slightly different tint of blue, not too different, but slightly different tint of blue to the windshield. The faces have about all the same. I think that the color is slightly lighter gray on the KO, but not much. But I mean, just look at them side by side, they look almost exactly identical, and I don't see really any differences that would stand out, except for the fact that when we get to the weight, this sucker here is going to weigh a lot more, and I guess the more I've handled this mold, of course, I think I did a better job with this transformation than this transformation. And the fact that I got to do it looking at it, not looking at it through a camera, I think that makes it a whole lot easier too. So anyway, that's how they look side by side. Now I do want to say, I think just handling both of these, I think die cast in the feet, side of the legs, and then the hood might be, but let's see what the weight difference is between these. Okay, so here is Takara. I don't know if I can block light or something. 6.8 is what it looks like, and pull him off there. So 6.8 ounces, that's like less than 7 ounces. We're going to put the KO on here, and it is 10.3. Well, maybe I should block some light here. 10.3. It does look like 18.3. It's really 10.3 on the scale. So almost 4 ounces heavier. That's got to be the die cast. And here it is with the fans toys. As you can see side by side, they're going for different aesthetics. Funny small note, I just filmed this whole scene here with the official and not the KO. I'm refilming it. Anyway, side by side, they go for something different. More heroic features, a little bit lighter on the legs and thighs and forearms, if you can see all of that. They're going more like a gray on here, and this is more closer to an off-white. And then so this is the hitch, this is the outrider, and maybe I'm doing something wrong, but I don't know. My fans toys, just the feet, it's just like he's not locking in place. He's just kind of wobbly. Maybe I did something wrong in the transformation. I don't know, but it just doesn't feel like a fans toys. That's something that's not usually an issue with the fans toys. This guy here, pretty solid. So is the official. So I don't know. Maybe I did something wrong there. Here we go with some hoist options from X-Transbots and MMC. So this is X-Transbots. I no longer have the X-Transbots version of this because as soon as I got whichever one option, I think fans toys or something, I sold that one off. But looking at these side by side, that looks pretty good. And so with that, I think that any of these would blend well together, but I do feel like the MMC sort of borrowed more from their Trailbreaker than any of the other companies did. And here he is next to Magic Square's Optimus Prime and Takara's Magnus, and so that's how they look. Fun stuff. Hey, I got extra bonus. And there he is next to the X-Translots version. I thought I sold this. Well, it's still sitting over on the shelf, so I guess I didn't sell it. So anyway, there he is, looking pretty good overall. I do want to mention that, since I got the X-Translots one here, that I think that this one does some stuff better with the shoulders. A lot of people really complain about the shoulders on the X-Translots. They're not the best, but they're not horrible. This one's the improved shoulders, so it's not that big of a deal. But yeah, I guess since we have them, we can kind of see front and back, side to side, and all that kind of stuff. I should have done it earlier had I remembered this guy. But I do think Takara's pretty clean overall. Like, aside from that side piece, which, I mean, even X-Translots has a little bit showing on the side, he looks super clean from the front. So, this is my quick look at the Takara Trailbreaker 4th party KO version. They get this, it shows the $60. I'll have a link down below where you can get yours. Kind of funny, I completely missed this was released because I was on vacation when it came out. But I'm glad I caught it before it sold out, because I think there's a lot of improvements to the original with the die-cast to it, and the fact that it's an improved price. So there's that. But anyhow, they actually include that head. That having that toy version head's pretty cool too. And so, aside from the sides looking a little bit goofy, the whole figure looks pretty good. I like it. But let me know what you think in the comments below. Do you like this one? Are you going to pick this one up? Have you been waiting for the KO? Did you say wait for the KO? Or did you get the Fan Toys? Like Fan Toys better? Do you like the X-Translots better? Or do you like one of the other ones like MMC Bad Cube? Or one of the other options that are out there? Let me know in the comments below. Like and subscribe to Dear Hanger. Out.
Hey, Trailbreaker, did you feel a weird jolt in your circuitry a minute ago? Interesting excuse, aren't old buddy? But I believe you know what to do. With pleasure, Prime. Now,